Hi kids, welcome back to the book club. Today we're throwing it all the way back to 1936. Man, 1936 seemed like yesterday. Great Depression was still going on. Hitler kicked off the Olympics, right? Crazy. And the average salary per year was $1,700, $1,700. Now during this time there was a book, a legendary book written called How to Win Friends and Influence People, written by Dale Carnegie. And ever since that year, that book has been a U.S. bestseller.
Let's fast forward 83 years to present 2020, and this is still a US bestseller. With over 30 million copies sold worldwide, this book is an absolute legend. Now we're gonna dive into it and see what makes this book so popular. What's up guys, welcome back to the book club. I appreciate you showing up. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel as we do a bunch of book reviews, any kind of productivity, tricks and tips, habits, a bunch of good stuff that's gonna help you live a better life. Okay, so I know what many of you are thinking because I thought it as well. A book this old, is it still relevant to today? Will it help me out? Will it help me become rich? Will it help me get to the next level of my career? I thought the same thing. I thought only new books would give me new insights, but sometimes just going back in the day, things are just explained completely different, a lot more simple, and this is where that book comes in there. So I'm gonna be bold and say this right off the start, that I think that everybody should read this book. I think this book is an absolute gem. I think it should be on everybody's bookshelf. I think everybody should read through it once or twice, especially in 2020 in the midst of chaos of the coronavirus and racial matters and politics. This book can help us get along a little bit better. I think if we read this instead of our freaking history books or instead of some of the crap things that we read in modern education, I think this book would help us relieve a lot of the tensions, a lot of the problems that we have today. Not only do I think you should read this book, I think you should reread it. I visit this book at least once a year. I absolutely love it. You can tell I'm a big fan from it already. As long as there's humans in the world, this book will be relevant. So it doesn't matter that it was written over 80 years ago. This book talks about people, and people is what you need to become successful. Now let's talk about the summary of the book. If I had to... You're just so loud. You're the loudest thing ever. If I had to summarize this book in one word, that one word would be empathy. Getting to fully understand someone else's feelings, their circumstance, their situation, and trying to relate to them. And you use that empathy, that understanding, and that relating of that person to have influence and become their friend. So the principles of this book are so simple, yet so complex. It's simple in the fact that you say to yourself, oh, that makes sense. Like, that's just common sense. But a lot harder to actually practice in the real world. We're dealing with humans here. Humans are tough. They're a lot more complex. So it's a simple concept, but complex because you're dealing with people. Humans are selfish beings, meaning that when two people talk to each other, those two people care about furthering their own personal agendas. And that's what this book teaches you, is how to put away your own selfishness and play into the other person's selfishness, allowing you to make that person feel important, to make them feel loved, to make them feel desired. And once you do that, it literally has a line in this book that says the individual who makes one feel desired has the world in the palm of their hand. That's power. Not only is that power, that's true influence. Not like these influencers today that post something and say, try my product. This is influence that, like, people, whatever you say and whatever you do, people want to follow you because you have this genuine love about you. So the book is broken up into 4 main sections. Number 1, fundamental techniques in handling people. Number 2, 6 ways to make people like you. Number 3, win people to the way of your thinking. Number 4, be a leader. Now there's principles for each section, and there's 30 principles total. Now I'm not gonna go over all 30 because that's what the book is for, but don't worry, these 30 are all kind of common. You'll see a common theme in all of these principles. My suggestion is to print them off and to post them somewhere in your office or somewhere where you'll see them, because these principles are life-giving, life-changing. Let's talk about the readability of this book. First off, I want to say that this book was written back in 1936. So some of the words and some of the verbiage used in this book won't be relevant. Also, the people that he's referencing will make no sense because they're people that are now dead. So some things will be somewhat confusing because the vocabulary was different 80 years ago. Other than that, the book reads really nice. The principles are super easy to understand. The chapters seem sweet and short, and the stories and examples of how each principle is played out is abundant. And most of the people that I referenced here are big enough names that people would know them, aka Abraham Lincoln. Almost everybody knows that dude. So the score is 9 out of 10. I do give this book a little bit of grace because it was written so so long ago that you weren't using bullet points. It was probably harder to print these copies out, etc. So the fact that it is still a very readable book, easy on the eyes, I still give it a 9 out of 10. Love it. So the true length of this book is 236 pages. Now this is without your distinction here and the summary, etc. And honestly, I could say that this book reads super fast. Like literally, you can crank through this book in a week. Easily, especially because it has you enthralled with the storytelling. I honestly wanted to keep on going, but it was the perfect length for a book of its value. It's a fairly short book for something that's so valuable, so I do give the score for the length a 9 out of 10. It's a very short read, easy to read. You'll fly through this book. Talk about the value of this book. Now, I said it in the beginning, if you're a human and you're dealing with other humans, you want to befriend humans, you need community, you need it for your job, this is a must read. If you're just a human in general, this is a must read. Read this book, please. Like, that's it. Just read this book. It's that good. 10 out of 10 on the value. It doesn't get much better than this. Let's talk about the storytelling of this book. Now, Carnegie is an absolute brilliant storyteller. The thing that I love about it is that this dude actually wrote a book about Abraham Lincoln. So he sprinkles Abraham Lincoln in there for every other principle at least. He uses very polarizing figures throughout the whole story of this book. So there's never a principle without a story tied to it. Multiple stories. In fact, there's like 7 stories for each principle. The whole book is a storybook. And that's what I really love about this book, because the value is so good, but the delivery and how it's given to you is like a storybook. So he's not just shoving these principles down your face and giving you equations and giving you science. He's giving you actual stories on how people have gone through history and have messed up, or how people have gone through history and have become super successful. Because of this exquisite storytelling, it makes the book so valuable. It makes it fun to read, even 80 years later. The score I gave for the storytelling is 10 out of 10. I think it is a storybook at heart, and the principles are there, and it teaches you in a way that it makes it fun and sticks to you. So we're gonna add up all of our scores from the 4 categories, divided by 40, get our final score. The final score of this book is a 9.5, a 9.5, almost perfect. Obviously, there's some things that can be changed. It could be a little bit updated to today's culture and today's world, but dude, this book is a freaking powerhouse. I love this book. Anybody I've talked to who reads multiple books per year has said this is one of the most impactful books. I'll post this book on my story and everybody's like, love that book, love that book, love that book. There's a reason why there's 30 million copies sold. It's an absolute powerhouse. So who is this book for? Well, it's for everybody. Seriously, like if you deal with humans in any capacity, if you have a family, if you have a girlfriend, anything like that, this book will help you. I promise that. This book is powerful, but it's especially helpful for those that are entrepreneurs, leaders, business owners, anybody that has any kind of role where they're dealing with people, managers, etc. I think this book could help a lot of influencers out there as well. So if you're an influencer, this is how you get influence. It literally has how to win friends and influence people. And this is one of the first books made of its kind. I suggest that you go buy this book right now. Actually, I put a link in the description. You support the channel when you do that, so I appreciate you guys when you guys use the links. And go buy this book. Pick it up on Amazon. Get yourself a nice book like this. If you can find an old tethered version like mine, which is the pages are yellow and orange and molding, get a book like this, because it probably has notes that are underlined, and an underlined book is actually a better book in my opinion. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you do these 3 things. First of all, like the video if you got any value from this, and if you thought it was a good video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I'll make sure that I'm out here providing great content for you guys to help you live a better life. And then comment below one of your favorite books, or a book that you were thinking about reading that you want to review on. And that is it. I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate you, and make sure that you're hustling for your health. I'll see you next time. Peace.